Hi, this is Jacqueline Haid with the Planning Accreditation Board. This presentation is an overview of the annual report due January 31st of each year. Today, we will cover what's new and why, along with some step-by-step instructions. Let's get started. PAB updated the annual report for several reasons. First, the annual report had not been upgraded or revised in about 10 years. As part of the current strategic plan, a goal is to enhance data collection, analysis, and dissemination regarding planning programs and planning education. Also, during the revision process, PAB looked at the data that is collected during an accreditation cycle and the data presented for Criterion 1F public information. By collecting these pieces annually, PAB will be able to more easily identify trends across programs. In addition, it will ease the burden on programs assembling data for their self-study report, or when there are changes in program directors, previous years of data will be in one place. So what changes did we make? Well, the new annual report will have all of the fields previously required, along with some new additional information. To respect all gender identities, PAB has added non-binary fields to the student and faculty composition tables. Programs may include non-binary data if applicable. Student enrollment data, graduation data, and employment data are fields you may recognize if you've previously completed a self-study report. A new curriculum data field has also been added. To log into the annual report system, first go to pab.civicor.com. If you have used the system before, your login information will be the same. New program administrators can receive their login information via email. To access the annual report, you must select your institution, the program, and the current year's report. To do that, follow these steps. As you begin logging in, you will first see three options. Select institutions, the institution name, select programs, and the program name. Then select annual reports, and on the right side of the page, select add current year's report. Please note that only programs with 2 accredited programs will have more than one to view. Next to the annual reports tab is the faculty FTE tab, which will be needed to complete part 4 of this report. Now that you've begun the report, first select the report year and the program type. It is important that you select the program type as you begin because different questions will show up depending on the level of the program. As you go through the report, you can save your progress by selecting Save at the top or bottom of the page. The system will log you out automatically after a period of inactivity, so it is important to save the report to prevent the loss of any information. Here's a list of the different sections of the annual report. Occasionally, the report will have a 6th section, which is for additional data collection. If Part 6 supplemental questions is on that year's annual report, those questions are required. The first part of the annual report is for substantive changes. This section is to notify PAB of changes to your program in the listed areas in question 1. If one or more boxes are checked indicating a substantive change, proceed to the text box below and explain the change and its effects. If no substantive change has occurred, check the box above the text field that indicates none of the above changes occurred, and then you may proceed to question 2. Question 2 has been added beginning with the 2019 annual report. Please note that this question is not meant to be a progress report. If your program has made efforts in areas brought up during a previous accreditation review, you may list those actions here. This question has been added in an effort to monitor progress on areas of improvement. For question 3, if your program provides a link to the current strategic plan on its website, please list the link in the space provided. For question 4, public information template for Criterion 1F can be found on the PAB website. Please provide the direct link to the completed template on your program's webpage in this section. Moving on to Part 2, Student Data. This section begins with the student race and ethnicity tables. The data entered in these tables should be for students in the fall semester of the report year. Full-time and part-time student status are determined by the program. New to this section are the columns for non-binary data. If your program collects this data, it may be included. To complete these tables, the total of both rows in the student ethnicity table must equal the subtotal from the student race table. It is the total number of U.S. students. Continued in Part 2, student enrollment data. And for much of the following sections in Part 2 of student data, much of the requested information can be found through your university's institutional research or data office. Some of the following sections will also include areas that are a part of the Criterion 1F template. They'll be indicated by 1F squares. To complete this table, new students admitted refers to the initial cohort group for the year specified. Retention rate should be entered as a percentage, and the definition for master's and bachelor's programs is provided in the blue help text bubble. While this section is new to the annual report, it is not a new type of data required by PAB. 7 academic years worth of this data is required when completing a self-study report. Also, the retention rate is on the 1F template, which is updated every year. The student graduation data section has been expanded from previous year's reports. Depending on which report type is selected when you first begin the annual report, these fields will appear differently for master's or bachelor's programs. 3 of the fields for each program are required on the 1F template. They are indicated here by the 1F squares. Student employment data is new to the annual report, but again, it is not a new type of data that is required by PAB. To complete this section, provide the number of graduates in each employment status. The employment rate includes all graduates, regardless of part-time or full-time enrollment status, or part-time, full-time positions. For the 1F template, convert the first row, graduates employed within 1 year of graduation in a planning or planning-related job, into a percentage. Moving on to faculty data, Part 3. This section begins with the faculty race and ethnicity tables. New to this section are the columns for non-binary data. If your program collects this data, it may be included. To complete these tables, the total of both rows in the faculty ethnicity table must equal the subtotal from the faculty race table. This is the total number of U.S. faculty. For AICP representation, please list the number of teaching faculty who are members of AICP. Part 4, student-faculty ratio. This section is not new to the annual report and no changes have been made. Several of the fields in this section are automatically generated based on information previously provided in the report. To complete Part 4, provide the total faculty teaching FTE for the current academic year and the program's definition of a full-time teaching load. To determine the most accurate student-faculty ratio, please complete the Faculty FTE section of the report by clicking on the Faculty FTE tab at the top of the page. If the Faculty FTE section was previously completed, please make sure that it is up to date. There are example FTE calculations on the Faculty FTE tab for different faculty situations. Part 5 curriculum data is a new section to the annual report. To complete Part 5, please begin by indicating if your institution uses a semester, quarter, or other system for their academic calendar. Provide the number of credits that are required for graduation. These can include required courses, electives, required internship if applicable. This will automatically calculate the total credit hours that are required for graduation. As programs innovate and expand their delivery methods, PAB has added questions on distance education. PAB defines distance education as a formal educational process that is characterized by the separation in time or place between instructor and student and supports regular and substantive interaction between students and instructor using one or more forms of technology. For a list of the types of technology or the full definition, select the blue help text bubble next to each question. There are two multiple choice questions on distance education. The first is specific to required courses only, and the second is for elective courses. If your program does not currently offer distance education courses but is thinking to include them in the future, you may include that information in the text box provided. Once the report is complete and all sections have been reviewed for accuracy, select Yes from the drop-down menu and then select Save to submit the annual report to PAB. Once the report is submitted, the program will not be able to make changes. You can save the report throughout completion without submitting it, but once you select Yes, it does submit the report to PAB staff. For any questions or technical issues, please contact myself, Jacqueline Haid, or visit the Frequently Asked Questions page on the PAB website. In summary, the new sections of the annual report are Question 2 and Part 1 substantive changes. This refers to progress since the last accreditation decision. Non-binary fields of the student and faculty composition tables. Student enrollment data, expanded graduation data, and curriculum data sections were also added. The due date for the report every year is January 31st. There is no additional report that is required other than the online annual report system. Again, for any questions, please contact myself or Jess Marie Johnson. We are here and happy to help. Thank you so much for your time.